After 20 years of building together through dust, deadlines, and damn good ideas, Pace and Adam invite you to join them for honest conversations about the home building world. Welcome to Build Connected, where experience meets insight, powered by Diamond Home Restoration.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Build Connected. I'm Adam.
And I'm Pace.
And I am once again remote from Tahoe. I'm sure, Pace, you have a jab you want to give me for taking more time off. But, look, it's winter break, The kids have off school, and I don't have a choice. This is not my choice to come to Tahoe and be stuck in snow and ski. It's like mandatory. You know what I mean?
That all makes sense. So this doesn't even count as a vacation day.
Doesn't even count. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, when I update the spreadsheet, I'll remember that this is not a vacation week.
All right, I'll remind you.
Right.
But it's been fun. With 8 feet of snow in 4 days. It's been wild.
I remember growing up, I had a friend that went, they came out to the Lake Tahoe area. And, I grew up in Maine. Skiing is big in New England. UVM, where you went, in Vermont, it's big. The levels of snow are just so ridiculous out here. I remember hearing about it. I've been here for 30 plus years now, and it's just hard to wrap your head around.
It's immense. It doesn't happen every year, these like 8 to 10 foot dumps, but man, and the snow is light, the air is cold. I got buddies that ski in Alaska, and they're comparing it to Alaska PAL, and we've been getting waist deep runs. It's been incredible. So just trying to stay safe out there, and enjoy our time. But in any case, let's I'm not going to ask about you.
No need.
Yeah,
I'm working.
you same old. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about products, right? That's our first little kickoff on our show. Today we're going to talk about induction cooktops versus gas cooktops, and what the trend is right now in our industry. And we're seeing a lot of new construction where it's mandatory that gas is no longer allowed in new construction. We don't see it in our remodeling world yet, but it could be coming. And it's something to think about when you're installing appliances that require gas. For us, we've done a lot of kitchen remodels over the years, and we have some clients that just want nothing to do with induction, right? They're used to that control with the gas burners. And Pace, you're like I'm not going to say a professional cook, but in the home world, you're quite the cook. So you know what I'm saying when I say control with gas.
Yeah, it's all about feel, that being said, like I also have an induction stove, like at our camp. And you get used to it, like I am kind of dragging my feet. I really like gas. There's just like a visual thing that goes along with it, I think. There's a feel to the cooking. But, old dogs can learn new tricks.
No doubt, up here in Tahoe, we our oven kind of kicked the bucket. And it was a gas burner. And I loved it, but we rent the house out now and again, and it's hard to keep clean. So it was kind of the motivation for us to get an induction cooktop, because it's just one piece of glass and super, super easy to clean. And I've heard, we're in the industry. I've heard mixed things on the induction cooktop versus the gas, but ultimately we went for it. And it's pretty impressive how fast you can boil a pot of water. I mean, a small pot of water, 2 minutes. It's insane. But you get used to the control. It's different, but it's nice. There are pitfalls to some of these induction cooktops, right? You have some that require your magnetic pan to have to land in a very specific spot, or the magnets inside of the induction don't hit those pans. And I think I went through 3 sets of pans here in Tahoe because a couple of them didn't work that well. But you can move into like a higher level induction cooktop where you can put a pan anywhere you want on the entire surface. You get more with an induction cooktop. I think more bells and whistles, the more money you spend. So I think if I could do it again, maybe I would have spent a little more money and went for that nice induction cooktop where you could put a pan anywhere. But there's give and take, and it's just something to think about as we kind of move into this world of gas being eliminated.
Yeah, the only thing that I really have to add to this conversation is I remember we have a not an expensive one at our place, and the entire cooktop is glass, right? And the first time that I used it, I used the wrong product to clean it, and I scratched it.
Oof.
So every time I look at it, I have this scratch right in the middle. And I'll, till the day I replace it, I'm gonna look at it every time I'm in my kitchen. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good one. You're right. I mean, in our a couple of our local jurisdictions, the gas has been banned in new construction, not yet in the remodel world, like you said. But who knows what the future holds? All right, so we're gonna do something a little bit different today. We're gonna smush our next kind of two segments together. We had one of our guys approach us this week on the job site and just kind of ask the question, what do I need to do to take on some more responsibility and kind of be a, bigger part of the team? And it got me thinking anyway, like, how do you enter the construction, the trades industry, and how do you navigate, moving up, like if you want to? Like what is there a path there for growth, right? Most people, some people are laborers, for their entire career, but a lot of people will, as they learn more, they will take on more responsibility. So it was really interesting getting the question. It hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been through it, you and I. When I say all, right? I mean, we didn't get to where we are now by sitting on our hands, right? We were kind of motivated to move up, and um, you know, I think it's different for everybody. I mean, my story is different than yours, but the quick version of me was I was hired as a carpenter. I learned from I joined a very small company comprised of 7 individuals, and they kind of took me under their wing and they taught me everything from forming foundations through framing to finish work, all of that stuff. And so that was kind of where I got my feet wet. And then I was able to kind of move on when I moved out of state to California, got hired as a carpenter, and I was motivated to be a licensed contractor, and I knew I had to just dig my heels in and do what it took to move up. And through that process, I was really just thrown in the fire because there was a project manager and a foreman, both of which I think were fired at the time, and they hired 2 new ones, and they were both fired, and so I was just the kind of the lead carpenter and was pushed into the position of foreman where I got to kinda run my own crew, and it's when you're thrown in the fire like that, right, you either survive or you don't, and I think you just have to prove yourself when you're thrown into these situations.
Yeah. I remember, so right after 9/11, like I had been in the restaurant world. Even though I had a construction background, like all through high school and college, like every break I was on a road construction crew. And so I had that manual labor background, right? I knew what it involved. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next after 9/11. And so a friend of mine was a general contractor. And I, originally planned just to take some time, earn some money before I did whatever was next. And I said to him, let me work for a week for you. He had a larger company. And if you don't like what I give you, you don't have to pay me. Right. And like I knew I was going to work hard. So it wasn't a risk on my end. The way I set it up, it wasn't a risk on his end. So we started off there and I was doing really rough manual labor for that first year. And I think the key to success and moving up is just first of all you have to be a go getter, right? Never stand around. The best phrase in the building world is You got,
I know what you're gonna say. You got time to lean?
you got time to clean, right? And so never be standing around. There's always something to do on a job site. So pick up a broom. Ask somebody who's above you, can I help you? Can I give you a hand? Yeah, there's so many things to do. And that's the key, right? When you realize, when the team realizes that you're there to help, that you're pitching in no matter what, people want you, right? And that's the path to climb that ladder and take on more responsibility. Just being curious about everything on the site. If you ever have the day like that, you think about being a GC, really start thinking about the business side of things. Like researching. Like
Yeah.
when we started, there was no, we weren't looking on the internet. We were reading magazines and watching TV probably.
Yeah, you're right. You always need to better yourself, and for us, we're constantly digging into all sorts of information in our line of work, right? I mean, when you and I started, we weren't going online, going on the internet. We had our trade magazines and different books and that sort of thing. Some TV stuff. I don't know, This Old House, right? That was always a classic one to watch. I
The
still watch
best.
it today. Still watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I still get all those trade magazines and I still love reading them because I think there's so much good information. But yeah, you really have to, submerge yourself in the depths of all of the new stuff that's coming out and learn what other people are doing and compare it to how you're doing it. And that goes for, the construction side of things as well as the business side of things. So it has to be kind of all encompassing.
Yeah. I think if you start thinking about, just like in your case, thinking about becoming a GC, right? That's when you really need to start thinking about the business side of things. My advice to that person right now is in that lead up while you're taking your contractor exam, make the decision to super organize your personal life. Set up a file cabinet. Everything that you touch in your life for a year, put it in a folder. Every expense, document it. Just get in the habit of being a bookkeeper for yourself, just to train yourself that organization, right? Because that is the key to being a good GC, just being able to track your money. I mean, it hits you on so many levels. And that's a good drill to get your life in order and just be more and more comfortable with how you take in bills, how you pay them, just getting that process established on a small, low risk scale, and then having that to apply to your business one day if you pass your test and move in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the tip of the iceberg there, but it is the foundation for everything we do, right? I mean, if you're not organized in our world, you're toast.
Yeah.
But look, it's about starting out small, right? Starting with some small projects and learning the nuances. I mean, you got to solve things for even, are you going to be an S corp? You're going to be an LLC, C corp, all of those different things. There's so much that goes into it, but baby steps and organization is really the structure of all of that, I think.
Yeah, that day though, when you're like, okay, I've been digging a hole for 2 months. I want to do something different. Like, I'd love to have a hammer, right? I'd love to be part of the framing crew. It's really about stepping up next to a guy who's framing and saying, hey, can I get you something? Can I get your saw? Like, you clean up his station if you've got time. Like, that's
Yeah.
that's the key.
I mean, I kinda left out the very, very first 3 months of my career, which is kind of similar, I think, to what yours kinda kicked off, but have you ever seen the movie Office Space? I think I've asked you this before.
Yeah, you've already done this.
Did I do this? Did I talk about this?
Do it again. Let's hear it.
Yeah. That was me. I was unhappy wearing a suit and tie as a commercial real estate investment broker, and I'm like, "I gotta get out of this, and I wanna get back to my roots of carpentry because I grew up working on a farm and doing carpentry work and that sort of thing." So, anyway, I spent 3 months backfilling a house with gravel by hand, 1 bucket at a time, and, I didn't quit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? You didn't quit. Like, my first 3 months was with a jackhammer in a hole for a foundation, just jackhammering ledge. The same thing, like, every day, like, one guy would be on the jackhammer, another guy would be on the shovel next to him, and another guy would be on a wheelbarrow. And
Is
it
that
would
why is that why when I talk, you don't hear me, or are you just ignoring me?
I can't hear anything.
Right,
Yeah.
I see you in
Down
the
in a hole with a jackhammer. It's
nice.
So much of my youth was exactly that. But I didn't quit. I mean, that's the key phrase, right? If you can stick it out, you can put in the hard work, there's a future for you.
Yeah, just keep it up, you know? You know, sometimes you just have to prove to yourself that you're capable, right? And whether or not you come out of the other end being a general contractor, running your own business or not, you're still proving something to yourself, right? Sticking things out, being strong, mentally strong, physically strong, and seeing things through. And that correlates to I think everything we do in life. So you can take that, apply it to something else if construction isn't the road for you.
Yeah, I think that all those skills you pick up, if you're lucky enough one day to own a house, right, you can use them on your house to better it. All of that kind of work ethic that you pick up in the trades, it really you can apply that to any other job that you might find yourself in.
Yeah.
So I that those early days, I mean, they set you up for whatever you are going to do next.
I mean, that was really the initial motivation for me was I envisioned myself one day owning a house and I wanted to be able to do the work myself. And that is really why I got into carpentry. But once I entrenched myself in it, I was kind of addicted to it. And I realized that that was the career for me. So just like you said, I wanted to apply. I didn't know if I was going to end up on this path, but I knew that if I put the hard work in and learned enough, I could apply that to my own house. And I kind of did that and then some.
Yeah. The only other thing I really want to add to this is you have to be patient too. You know, I feel like especially younger people here, right? They're okay, well, I've done this for 3 months or I've done this for a year. I want to be a foreman now. There's a reason so many of the trades, especially when you're in the union, right? You have to apprentice for 5, 7 years, right? You've got to put in your time before you can climb. Um, and that's part of it, right? It takes time to move up. And like I know within our company, historically, like we'll give like little bite size promotions, right? Why don't you do this? You know, maybe you'll get another 50 cents an hour, but we expect this of you. So just incrementally taking on more responsibility, continuing to prove yourself, and that's how you slowly climb the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, how and then, how does that correlate to the client side too? Like for example, there's a client that knows that this individual is a new general contractor. I'm only saying this because this was how our first job came about, right? It was actually a friend of mine who wanted to do a remodel, knew I was a new general contractor, that we were, starting this business. And they trusted me and took a bit of a leap of faith, but it was a win-win, right? They knew I was motivated to really kick some ass and do a great job for them. And on the other side, they got a great deal because I wasn't charging what I probably should have. I think that's something else to consider, what's your rate gonna be? You wanna be competitive, but you also wanna prove yourself and get that job. So, I guess I'm asking the question, if what do you say to the client when somebody new is, approaching them to do their project for them?
I've always thought this is a bit of a false narrative, right? It might be your first job as your own standalone company, but you've been doing the work, right, for years. So it's not like you're fresh out the gate, right? You've got tons of experience,
True.
right? The business side of it, right?
That's
It's
the that's the hard part.
that's hard for you.
Yeah.
But I mean the work, you've been doing the work for years. So I think that's kind of a false narrative. I mean, and it's very similar to the question, and we get this over and over, and I just hate it, but it's hard for me to explain, hard for me to answer it. Like, you'll be looking at a job and somebody's going to, uh, whatever, like their design has something in it. And they're like, have you ever done a job like this before? Right. Like, it's such a silly question to me. Like, if you're talking about building like a skyscraper at the bottom of the ocean, then okay, it's a fair question, right? There's a whole bunch of totally new challenges. But if you're like you have a slightly different shaped dormer. I'm pretty sure I can handle it, right? If you're going to paint your color a purple, paint your house purple, we can handle it, right? We might not have done it, but it's no different than all the previous jobs, right?
Yeah, we've heard that question more times than not, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, it's silly to us because this is the world we're in, and there's 10 different ways to do 10 different things, and we know how to do them every which way. So,
But
but
more than that, right? Like in the custom remodel world, every single job is different.
yeah,
Every job that
yeah.
we'll
But
do,
but you've got clients that don't know that, right? They ask that question because it makes them feel better knowing you've done the same exact thing before, right? So you have to establish that relationship with them and inform them of really who you are. I mean, we're not sales guys. We never are, but there is a side of that, right? Where you have to be informative to that potential client that look, this is your world. You it can be done this way, this way. We've done it every which way, and we do custom stuff that has never been done before, but our experience allows us to, you know, come out on top on these custom projects.
yeah, I mean, I think you just need to talk about your experience, right? And build up
Yeah,
that confidence with the potential client. You're right. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun. So do I get a raise?
Let me talk to my boss.
Hmm. Interesting.
Um, I'm gonna talk to my daughter. She's my
All right.
boss.
Well,
She'll let me know.
it'll be good to have you back on the job site next week.
Oh, do you
Uh,
mean that? I feel like you miss me? It's hard to tell.
yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
hard. It's
that's
hard
nice.
surviving. Yeah. So it'll be good to have you
Oh,
back.
how do you do that? How do you do the heart? My kids do
There it
this.
is.
Pretty
There's
good.
the heart.
Yeah.
All right,
You
guys.
got it.
Thanks for joining us again on Build Connected. I'm Pace.
And I'm Adam.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Build Connected. For more stories, insights, and ideas, visit diamondhomerestoration.com or find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. We hope you will too.